So when you have systems in place, you are saving time. When you have saved time, because we all have 24 hours in a day, right?
Yeah.
And everybody always says, how can you do that? How can you go out and go fishing? How can you go out and spend time on the beach? How can you go to the gym for an hour a day? How can you do this? How can you do that? Because I have systems in place. And they are not perfect, by the way. They are just really good. And it saved me so much time. So when we want to do something, we have to give something up. Well, I gave up doing all the BS work and something that used to take me an hour now takes me 15 minutes because I figured it out. I figured out how to do that, how to create that time to do all the fun stuff I love to do.
Yes.
So it worked out perfectly.
Man, that's critical to figure that out, to figure out how to unpack the 80% of the things that you can do, but maybe you're not the best at, or delegate just simply because you need that time back, whether that's for self-improvement, right? You're going to study, you're going to take an extra continuing education on family law, advanced probate and estate planning, whatever it might be. Or you're going to go to the gym, or you're going to take that little trip with your wife, or you're just going to walk to the beach, or, make sure that you're getting your hour a day at the gym, whatever that may be.
Yep.
That's critical. And systems, if I'm hearing you right, Marty, make sure I'm hearing this right. Systems help you gain that time back by speeding you up, right? That 20 minutes that I fiddled around with trying to make StreamYard work on an iPhone, and then realizing that it needed to work on a laptop, and then realizing that not only was it on the laptop, but it needed to be Google Chrome on the laptop. Now there's a system in place. Hopefully next week goes better. Perfect. Sorry, viewers, we're still beta testing all this. So, all right. So let's get to the meat and potatoes of the call today. Which thank you, Marty, for beaming in from Florida. But I want to dive into and talk about. It looked like you had an epic fishing trip. So let's talk about the significant. I mean, let's confirm or deny. B, let's lie about the size of the fish you caught.
I don't have to lie.
Right, it was this.
That's the fantastic thing. I don't have to lie. It was
this.
Huge.
I can't even scale out.
You can't get it in there. It's that big.
Yeah, we've got these little squares. So tell us about it.
Yeah, so first of all, I have a bucket list. Okay, I'm a bucket list attorney. I'm a bucket list coach. I help people live and die with no regrets, help them plan for the end of their life and everything in between, give them peace of mind and fulfillment for a life they love. So I live that. I live it every day. I live it every week. I live it at every opportunity. So I also live my life by design, not by default. I used to wander around and by default is like, oh, that sounds good. I'll go do that. But I never had it written down. Now I have everything I want to do written down. If I hear about something cool, I'll write it down. I'll write it down in one of my categories. And I have deep sea fishing written down. I have catch a huge fish over 30 pounds written down. And I was at a networking event a couple weeks ago. And one of the guys in our group is an avid fisherman, and he was going on this epic fishing trip. It's an overnight trip. It's like 3 nights, 4 days. And we go way out. If you're familiar with the Gulf of Mexico, way out past the Dry Tortugas, which is a tiny little island. It's a little fort, and there's a lot of scuba diving, a lot of fishing around that. But we went past that into the deep, deep waters. We started at about 550 feet. Went down to about 1,200 feet, and it was 2 full days on the water. Never done anything like that. Like a 135-foot boat, and he's telling me about this thing, and I'm like, that sounds amazing, but I can't do it. It's last minute. They were literally leaving tomorrow, and I looked at my calendar. I said, okay, well, I'm good. I've developed systems. I've put things in place where if something comes up, I can actually take advantage of it. I can do it because I've also created my law practice in a way that I don't really have to be there. I'm not going to court every day. I'm not getting phone calls from angry clients, happy clients, any clients on a daily, hourly basis, like a lot of attorneys are. So I've done a lot of work to make it that way. And it's really important to me and my lifestyle. Some people love the grind of going to court, running back and forth to court. And I know you're doing that today, Casey.
Yeah.
So some people love it. I enjoyed it for a while. I enjoyed going to court for a while. I enjoyed hearings. I enjoyed the thrill of having a trial. Now I love sitting at home with my T-shirt on, comfortable.
Yeah,
it's fantastic for me. So I've opened up the opportunity for me to take advantage of traveling and doing whatever I'm doing, because I can work from anywhere. I work from home. I can work from Iowa, where my grandbabies are. I can work from Cancun if we ever go there. I can work from anywhere, except for a boat in the middle of the Gulf of Mexico. There was no service at all. They had satellite service for the TV, but they did not have internet service, which when I knew that, I was like, all right, I'm good. I'm fine.
It's one of those messages from, infinite intelligence, God, the universe, whatever you want to call it, where it's like, hey, you need to be where your feet are. Be present.
Mm-hmm.
Don't be worried about that, because that little 2 days on that boat is such a short amount of time. You're not likely to be back in that place.
No.
Not anytime, not anytime quickly or easily. And doing that and being where your feet are and enjoying all of that is so critical when you're in that moment, to put the phone down and really focus on where you are, and don't worry about the 3,000 emails that are going to be in your inbox when you get back to Florida. Hey, they're going to be there whether you were there or not.
Exactly.
And being present, and really that experience with the open water and the fish and the wildlife and the birds and the people on the boat, right? The people you're interacting with.
Yep. People on the boat. The food was amazing too, which is like really strange. It's like this little boat. It's not a little boat, but it's for going out in the middle of the ocean or in the middle of the Gulf. It's a little boat. And we slept in these little bunk houses, bunk rooms, and it was a great experience. Anyway, I ended up saying yes, I'll go. And then I woke up the next morning. I'm like, did I really promise I was going to go on this trip? And it's like, yep. And I'm like, maybe he won't remember. So he sent me the link to sign up. I was like, all right, I'm going. So I paid my dues and did a bunch of work real quick and got everything ready to go. And I was ready to go by 3:00 that afternoon. And we took off. Yep, shipped out. Yep. So it was a fantastic trip. And he's like, I'll let you borrow my gear. You don't have to bring anything. Just come on. I'm like, all right, great. So I get there and everybody's setting up their rods when we're fishing the first day. And everybody's got these electronic poles. We're fishing 550 feet was the first drop. Actually it was about 650 feet. And I'm like, what pole am I going to use? He's like, that one. Oh, okay, the one with the reel, right? The old school. Everybody else had the electronics, which if you've never seen one, it's crazy. It's about this big, and the line goes down automatically or manually, and then it hits and it clicks, and then if they get a bite, they go. They push the button, and that's it. And you can control the speed, but that's it. There's no fight to it. It's just, and the pole goes boop 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 boop, and that's it. Well, I had this little regular old pole, and put my bait down, reeled it. I thought I had a bite, so I reeled it up. 650 feet, by the way, is no joke.
Yeah, it's
the weight on that alone. It was 2 pound weight, and that's pulling in. It's like, it feels like there's a fish, but there's not a fish. And all right, I'm tired. Nope, but I don't have any bait. So rebait, throw it back down, and then I catch one. You hit it, and when you have one.
You know when you got it.
You know when you got it. It was a big old grouper. It's a big old yellow edge grouper.
Wow.
Probably about a 15, 20 pounder. And that was a fight. I knew I had to fish that because now I know the difference between just the weight and a fish. The fish was like boom, 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 and kept running down.
Yeah.
Got that thing up, and that was the biggest fish I'd ever caught.
Well, just to give some reference, that's a little further than 2 football fields down with 2 pounds. And that's a little bit taller than the Space Needle in Seattle, Washington.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, that's how far 650 plus feet, give or take. And then think about hauling, 2 pounds of weight just back up empty, and then hauling
15-pound fish.
15-pound fish plus your 2 pound weight.
Yeah.
And then, let's also, because we're talking about, things, concepts, but when we're talking about depth of water, right, about every 6 feet, about every 1.8 meters is a fathom. And so many fathoms equals an atmosphere of pressure. And that's another right there, the resistance of what you're pulling because of the right. I mean, the water is denser and less, like you can splash in a bathtub, right? Right. But when you're 600 feet down, right, the pressure of all the water is greater, which means the resistance of something moving through it is higher. And so, you're pulling up a really tough animal.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a lot of tough work to get it through. I don't know how many atmospheres that is.
I don't know.
I think it's like every.
That's your nautical experience speaking right there.
Right. But you just start thinking about, the to give the audience an idea of the physical exertion. And I don't know what your experience. I remember the last time I went deep sea fishing in the Gulf of Mexico, about 3/4 through the day, I had to switch from a right-handed reel to a left because I couldn't crank anymore.
Yeah.
I was exhausted. My right arm was exhausted from because our guide was like your guide, an amazing fisherman, put us on the fish, entertained us, was extremely helpful. And a lot of folks that we went with, they just got tired and checked out. But I was having such a good time. And the same thing, right? I didn't know when I was going to be back in that spot, and I was going to enjoy and fish every minute of it.
Yep.
And because at the end of the day, you share the entire catch with everybody to make sure that the limits are right. And so, yes, Marty might pull up 15-pound groupers, but they are going to be shared amongst the crew and the other passengers, because some people aren't going to have that kind of luck. They're going to, they might get a cobia or a shark or something that you're not going to want to keep.
Yeah.
That you might put back, and then that way everybody has some fun and gets to go home with some fish. And I wish I'd have known, because I've got an amazing recipe for grouper. So,
well, I haven't eaten it yet. So,
well, it is.
I haven't eaten all of it. So.
It is one of my favorites.
Yeah. We got to keep our own fish. So this boat is you keep your own. Now, if you do go over the limit, then that's when they'll do it. That's when they'll give it to somebody else. But no, it was catch what you keep what you catch. So
that's awesome, man.
Yeah.
All right. So what are our takeaways from this?
Wait. And then the big fish came a couple hours later, and that was at 750 feet. That was the amberjack. And that,
so what is an amberjack? I mean,
amberjack, I don't know, it's a big ass fish. Fights like crazy. It's a big ass fish. Go to my bucketlistcoach.martyelberg on Instagram, bucketlistcoach.martyelberg on Instagram, and you'll see pictures. Also on Facebook too, Marty Elberg.
Yeah. So that's 2.5 football fields down, just for reference, 2.5 football fields down. And then all the atmospheric pressure on that, plus the fish is super humongous.
Oh, it's huge. It was like 30 pounds.
Yeah. So double the grouper.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That is awesome.
So it was definitely worth taking a day off of work. I got back on Monday. I was like, all right, good. And I knew I was leaving on Tuesday to go to Funnel Hacking Live with Russell Brunson, and Tony Robbins was going to be there, and a ton of other awesome speakers. So I knew I was going to be off that week. So I made it happen. I made it work. And that's really the joy of having systems in place and having things that you can do from wherever you are. I check my email once a day. Told my assistant, hey, I got this, and this going on. I saw some appointments coming in. I said, make sure you start this workflow. Make sure you start this. Talked to a couple clients yesterday because there were appointments already set for me when I got back. And they're like, thank you so much for sending all that information before I even got on the phone with you. So, get things in place. It frees up your time. It frees up your ability to take advantage of once in a lifetime opportunities. And if you have them written down, it's not by default, it's really by design, because you're looking for those opportunities. You're listening for those opportunities. What do you want to do? Well, if you don't know what you want to do and you hear something, you're like, oh, okay, that might be cool. But if you write it down, like I have deep sea fishing written down, overnight trip, I can cross that off now. Yeah, fish, I can cross that off now. I did not catch a tuna, so I still have that. Didn't catch a swordfish. So swordfish or a blue marlin, those are still on my bucket list. And the guy that invited me to go on that trip, those are the kind of fishing trips he usually goes on. So he said, I'm going to take you. We'll get one. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. So make time for these things, because time is the most precious thing we all have. That's my big takeaway from today.
And stop saying someday. Stop saying someday. I could have easily said, someday I'll do that. Someday I'll do that. Someday is not a day of the week, and it may never come.
Man, if anything in the last 20 months has, if the last 20 months should have taught us anything, it's that someday. How many friends, how many loved ones, how many colleagues, right? I mean, this last 20 months of pandemic, sheltering, this disease that won't go anywhere but get worse. And, I'm not getting political. I'm just saying that your guidance, your advice, your push to make someday today, that's right on target, man. Right on target. Thank you, man.
Hey,
thank you, Marty.
You're welcome.
All right. Well, we're right at our time, 18 minutes. So we know we're exceeded our goal of trying to limit this to good, relevant content with not too long, so we don't beat anyone's attention span down. Like, man, one of those guys gonna get to something important. So let's wrap it up. Any saved rounds, Marty?
Take care of yourself. Your self-care is not selfish, it's selfless.
Oh, God, that's so true, man. So true, especially in light of the last 20 months. I mean, I'm just right back to that, right?
That's what made me think that would be a good ending.
Yeah.
Self-care is not selfish, it's selfless.
It is. It really is.
Because the better you can take care of yourself, the better you can take care of others.
Yeah. All right, man. Let's do this. Let's get out there and help some people today.
All right.
See you, brother.
All right. See you later.
Thank you.